Did you know Taz is a child predator? That's right. Former ECW World Champion, former ECW FTW Champion, and current AEW commentator Taz, also known as Peter Sinertia, is a child predator. He has been arrested before for exposing himself to a minor at a tanning salon. The story goes like this. In September of 1998, during his reign as the FTW champion, Taz went to a tanning salon where he would lie about his age to a 15-year-old girl working there, claiming that he was 24 when he was really 31, and then asking her to expose her chest to him before exposing himself to her, traumatizing her and leading to his arrest later that day. Now, while the rest of the details here aren't known, what is known for sure is that the charges were dropped in 1999. If we do want a take on the story from somebody who would know the details and has a reputation for being brutally honest, we could turn to New Jack, who claims that Taz didn't just expose himself to the victim, but instead he grabbed her, trying to force himself onto her, and that he stood in jail for 2 days after the fact before paying the victim off to avoid any charges. Now, we cannot take this as 100% fact, of course. New Jack wasn't there, and Taz has never spoken on this situation that I could find in my research. But if what New Jack is saying is true, that means that he intentionally went there with the intention of forcing himself onto a woman. And let's be straight up here. I don't want to hear none of that. Oh, well, he didn't know that she was 15. First of all, he was still going to force himself onto her. Second of all, how do you not know that somebody's 15? A 15-year-old doesn't look like an adult by any stretch of the imagination. Like, unless you are Jeffrey Epstein, you do not think a 15-year-old is an adult. Okay? There is in no world where a 15-year-old is an adult, looks like an adult, acts like an adult, or should be treated like an adult. Okay? Straight up, Taz knew that she was underage. And whether we take New Jack's story of him forcing himself onto her, or we just take, what is widely reported as him just exposing himself to her, whatever he was doing, he had the intention of forcing a child, of forcing himself onto a child, whether that be just by exposing himself to her or actually trying to force her to do things. And I know that there will be people out there that will say, oh, he's grown and changed as a person. But I, for one, choose to believe that there is no growing and changing from being a child predator. You cannot grow or change from that. There is still a child out there that he exposed himself. Of course, they're not a child now, but still, he exposed himself to a minor, to a child. That child lost their innocence. That child has been traumatized for years, and they will never get their childhood back because of Taz, because of him. There is a victim out there who unfortunately never got the justice that was supposed to be given to them because their family probably took the money that he was giving them. And straight up, I think that it's wrong that he never faced repercussions for this. He still wrestled in ECW for years after this. He still got hired in WWE. He still got hired in TNA, and he's still hired in AEW to this day. No company ever did the correct thing of blacklisting him from the industry. And straight up, that is one of the most dangerous things because wrestling is a art form meant for children and families. So it makes it so much worse that he has been exposed to hundreds of thousands of children over the years, and nobody has ever said anything or done anything about it. It's just swept under the rug as, oh, it was a one time thing, years ago, and since it didn't go to trial, it couldn't be real. Well, I choose to not believe that. I choose to not think that way. Taz is a child predator that should have been banned from wrestling and jailed decades ago. And the fact that he isn't shows just what's wrong with this world. Hopefully, I was able to inform somebody who didn't know about this situation, because it's not something that I have seen brought up a lot out there when people talk about wrestling. It's kind of swept under the rug because again, it is seen as just a, oh, we know, well, it was years ago that it happened thing, and it's not actually taken seriously. And it is a messed up situation, and I just wanted to inform people about it because, I think it's something that does deserve attention. It is an issue that has never been solved, and by the looks of it, if we don't start talking about it now, it'll never get solved. It'll just be swept under the rug, dragged under as another thing that wrestling fans and wrestlers and wrestling companies just don't want you to know. But I'd love to know your reaction to it, and I'd love to know how you feel knowing this now and knowing that this has happened and that wrestling companies have been sweeping it under the rug for decades. I would also like to know, what do you think should have happened to Taz? Leave it in the comments below. Peace.